Yeah, lots of positives to take away from Liverpool's 3-0 win over Brighton today. They're through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Before we get word from the boys here, our Mark Ogden was pitchside today and he caught up with Dominic Szoboszlai.
Hi Dominic, so since the Man City game you've won 2 games, 2 clean sheets. How important was it to bounce back in that fashion?
Well, for me only one. But yeah, I'm happy that the guys kept the clean sheet in Sunderland and also that they took the 3 points home. And yeah, that today was also a massive one, important going into the next round.
5th round of the FA Cup, so you're kind of beginning to see the path to Wembley now. How important is it to win a major trophy this year with the FA Cup?
Well, every season is important to win a trophy. We can say that in the Premier League we are out of the race, but there are 2 more campaigns where we can achieve something big, and that's our goal.
You say you're out of the race in the Premier League, but obviously you've still got a chance of top 4, so the season can still have a successful ending in 3 competitions at the moment.
Yeah, that's true, to be honest. But you was asking me about the trophies. To be on the top 4, that's necessary, to be honest, for a club like Liverpool, and we're gonna do everything that is possible.
From your own perspective, that's 10 goals in all competitions this season, and quite a few decent ones as well. So how do you rate tonight's?
I try to do my best every game, and if I have a chance to shoot, then finally I take the decisions to shoot, and sometimes I hit it good and it goes in.
This must be one of your best seasons goal-wise, though, because free kicks, goals all over the place.
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep going.
Thanks, Dominic. Cheers.
Nice stuff there. Yeah, Mark Ogden getting schooled by Szoboszlai in the interview. Luis Garcia still with us. Let me start with you though, Stevie, because for once it feels as though we've got a lot of positives to take away from a Liverpool showing.
Well, it's not very often this year that you can watch Liverpool and not feel stress. And there was no real stress today. You know, a couple of little spells, just a couple of minutes before half-time we had a couple of opportunities. And then maybe a 5-minute spell in the second half where at 1-0, Brighton looked as though they were sort of getting a bit of steam going. But other than those 2 little periods, Liverpool were dominant in my opinion. Liverpool were the team on the front foot. They were the team that were creating. They were putting pressure on the opposition. They got the 3 goals. They kept a clean sheet. I mean, it's the kind of performance that you this season hope to see more often. But it's the kind of performance we've expected from Liverpool all season. So hopefully this is the start of some sort of consistent performance, because if they can produce what they did today between now and the end of the season, then they will qualify for the Champions League, in my opinion. And
speaking of producing today, the goods came from Milos Kerkez. It's obviously been a difficult season for him, but today did we see the player that was promised to Liverpool?
Absolutely. Listen, I know I have been critical of Kerkez, and I think that for the majority of this season so far, he's been a problem in the back 4. He has not affected Liverpool either in an attacking sense or in a defensive sense. And we've mentioned it on more than one occasion. So I think it's only right that we say today that in terms of what he's been producing, he was fantastic today. He was a terrier defensively. He was in good positions. He got close to people. He won the ball back. And then, of course, going forward, he's almost scored with a cracking volley. He set up Curtis Jones for his goal. I mean, what we saw from Kerkez, 100%, is the player that we thought Liverpool were getting. And today he showed us what he's capable of. So now, let's hope he's taking a step forward and he can get close to that sort of performance every time he steps on the field. And if he does, not just me, but every Liverpool fan will be more than pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to silverware this season, the FA Cup has got to be a good chance for them right now, Luis Garcia.
Yes, definitely, because it's a massive competition. You know, they all love the cup there in England, and it's the closest that they are right now to touch the silverware. Let's don't forget, in Champions League, it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. The amount of quality and tough teams they are over there, most of them from the Premier League, that you've been struggling to get results, is not going to put you in a good position, because you need that consistency. Because today we saw a couple of occasions in the last of the first 45, and also in the beginning of the second one, where Brighton had the opportunity to get back into the score. And those opportunities, probably when you play later on in the Champions League against top teams, those are going to be capitalized, and you're going to be punished. So I think the FA Cup is a real thing for Liverpool this season. And we had also Arne Slot, the manager, talking about they're going to be focused on doing that. They have to play every single game as a final. They have to try and win every single game, but definitely having the option of winning an FA Cup and bringing it to the stands again, I think is a real option right now.
We're going to let you go now, Luis, but we're just wondering where you are in the world right now.
I'm in Malaysia, 6:20 in the morning, and looking forward to my team JDT to play on Tuesday in the Champions League. Big game.
Okay. Good luck to Luis Garcia's team.
What a
Gets around, doesn't
decision maker, by the way.
Absolutely, of course he is. Luis, thank you so much for being with us. We'll be hearing a lot more from Luis Garcia right here on ESPN FC, which you can catch every single day right here on ESPN+. Newcastle turn things around, and it's them who march on to the next stage of the FA Cup. But I wonder what Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, had to say after this.
Could you believe some of the decisions that you were seeing out there?
No, it felt like it was one of those games where every decision that was sort of being made, any contentious decision, was going against us. And I know that's, of course, it's not intentional from the officials. It was just, one of those things you have to accept. I thought our players did really well to control their emotions and not get into further trouble and, not get a red card for something. But it did feel strange. I mean, the penalty for handball, that I think I could see that one from where I was. It just felt like, is it one of those days where it's not going to happen? And that's where the players did really well, especially 11 v 10. It's not as easy as people would make out to break down a stubborn defensive unit, and I thought we did that really well in the second half.
So before we get into the specific decisions, let's just talk about the fact that this was a great commercial for VAR, wasn't it?
Oh, big time. Anybody who says VAR is wasting the game, you watch this game in particular and the City game earlier on. I mean, the lucky thing for both sides is the decisions the referees made in both of these games didn't affect the outcome. But before VAR, how many games have we watched where 100% referees, bad decisions, wrong decisions, have caused teams to lose trophies, lose games, lose points? And it just tells you how important VAR is. Now, yes, we all would agree that VAR can be dealt with better, certainly quicker. But having watched this game in particular, boy, did we were praying that VAR was in use, because the decisions were so poor. Do you really want to get rid of VAR and go through this? People say that we talk too much about VAR and we criticise the decisions. I would far rather we criticise decisions that are missed from referees having been able to look at it 3 or 4 times, because then we can try and put it right. Whereas if there's no VAR, we're left. We're left in no man's land, because all you can say is, well, the game's played at such a pace, it's really difficult for the officials. I mean, that's the line that used to get trotted out week in and week out. So, yeah, 100%. This game in particular was a great advertisement for VAR.
So let's get to the situations in the game. We'll go chronologically that annoyed you guys the most. And we'll start in the first half. It was that reckless challenge, Stevie, from Lucas Digne that just warranted a yellow from the referee.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Even a poor VAR operator would have given a red card, because he caught him right in the shin and then he went down onto his foot. I mean, having to be able to see it twice, it's clear. At game speed, that's a tough decision for a ref, 40 yards away.
Same man involved in the second half, a penalty that wasn't.
And it's flagrant, it's egregious. So regardless of whether we're using VAR or not, this is a call that the referee should be able to make. It's an egregious, flagrant mistake, and you can't help but feel cheated if you're a Newcastle player in that specific sequence. See, players, I think, are willing and able to deal with certain decisions if they're borderline. This was not borderline. This is clearly a penalty. If you're going to call the handball, it's clearly inside the 18-yard box. Should have been a penalty kick, was not given. And the best thing that could have happened for this game and for Newcastle players is that they scored right off of this free kick. And it allowed them to sort of put that aside. We don't have to think about what could have been a penalty kick, and we can focus on playing the game and going on to win this match, which eventually they did. But as a player, in that moment, you have to show so much discipline that you just don't go and remind the referee of all his family while he's making or not making the call that he should.
While you were talking, I was thinking about being a coach sitting on the sideline. Yeah. And the first thing I would have done would have been the fourth official and the linesman, because they're all mic'd up. Because you've got to go, hold on a second. One guy can make a mistake, but there's four of you. There's four of you actually in charge of this game. You telling me you can't get in his ear and tell him it was in the box? Or what's the linesman doing? Linesman put his flag up. Why doesn't the linesman put his flag up and then get the referee's attention? The old-fashioned way. Referee running over the linesman, little conflab, in the box, penalty. I mean, that's what I was thinking when I was a coach.
Just quickly, do you think players will try to get away with a little bit more, knowing there is no VAR in those games, or do they not think of that?
I mean, I would. Let me tell you, I'd be going down all over the place without any problem.
More than you did.
I mean, no. If I don't have the possibility of punishment and I can play on the fringes and push the fringes of legality, I'll do it. I have no issue admitting to that, and I think every player would, and should for that matter, that you push it as far as you possibly can. And if the referee, once the referee makes a bad call and he kind of has that feeling that he has made a bad call, now it's only human nature, and they'll deny this, but it's human nature that, well, we got to make it even. And that's when you go and try to exploit it, and you try to draw a foul, you try to draw some sort of contact inside the 18-yard box and put the referee in a position where, hey, buddy, you going to make a call for us now? You going to even things up? This is the way I would approach it.
Now, he definitely would. But in all honesty, there are not many players, certainly the Premier League players, because they're programmed that there is VAR. There are thousands of cameras. There are occasions, there isn't an occasion where you can get on the blind side of the camera or whatever, because everything you do is, so they're used to that. So there's always the exception to the rule. But in general, players will do what they normally do, 100%.
As they march on to the fifth round of the FA Cup, let's get word from Pep Guardiola speaking after the game.
Pep, congratulations on your progress in the FA Cup, but how much credit do you give to Salford for making things very difficult for you today?
Yeah, a lot. They defend really well, so tight. And difficult, and we didn't read where are the spaces, the way you should attack. And that's why the game was flat. It wasn't good, except when we scored the second goal, that after we increased our spaces where we should do it, our wingers and our attacking midfielders, and until the 2-0, the game was not good.
How frustrated were you at half-time that it was only 1-0 and you'd had what looked a decent second goal ruled out for offside?
No, it's not frustrated for 1-0. You can go 1-0, play magnificent, and sometimes you win 3-0 and the game is not good. So we try to try to let them feel where we should do in that, and just we do it after the 2-0.
They put a lot of pressure on you in the second half. How relieved were you when Mark Gay, one of your substitutes, not necessarily sent on to score, but he got that crucial second goal for you?
Yeah, of course, this is better. It's better for that. It had been a really, really tough 3 weeks with emotionally a lot of games and demanding, and today was the last game that we need a little middle break, with 3 days and a half, and the problem we didn't read were the spaces. When they are so tight, so narrow, a little bit high, you had to put more balls to the sides, and we didn't do that.
How relieved were you to have Mark available today, changing the rules this season, which enabled him to play for Crystal Palace in the FA Cup in the third round, and for you in the fourth round, a bit of a curiosity that he's been able to do that?
Sorry?
So the rules have changed this season in the FA Cup, haven't they? In that he would have been cup tied previously, having played for Crystal Palace in the third round, and this year he was available. It was very important to you that he was available.
Yeah, of course he was, of course, but for example, cannot play in the final FA Carabao Cup. So yeah, why can play here and why cannot play the other ones? You know that? But I'm pretty sure there are some rules that there are a biggest argument, the reason why it happened. Common sense is not, but it's okay.
Lovely to hear from Pep. All the best players, great players, players of high skill, and still Pep can find what they put on. Not the best and not always dazzling, Stevie.
Not dazzling is a bit of an understatement, isn't it?
I could have said boring, but I was being polite.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was a little dreary. The fact that City scored so early didn't really help, because then they don't have to have as much urgency in their game when they're 1-0 up. I mean, at half-time, Salford had 7% possession. So you don't really have to get too much of a sweat on to kill the game off, because you pretty much know the opposition's not really going to have much hope of coming up against you, particularly in any sort of ferocious way. So it was too easy for City. Salford really didn't want to lose too much. So I guess that was the reason why it wasn't.
They didn't dazzle.
Particularly dazzling.
Well, you don't have to be polite, okay? Because that's pretty much what Pep told us.
Yeah.
In his first answers, that's why the game was boring. Boring. It was. And again, it's not the responsibility to entertain us, but man, this game, when you consider everything that goes into it, that is Salford City, that is the FA Cup, on its own, it was always going to be difficult to sell, at least me, to watch this game. But it's part of my job to watch it. And I'm watching it, and I'm paying attention, and I'm saying to myself, why in the world am I watching this? Manchester City were disinterested, uninterested. They didn't want to be there. Salford City, they're excited to be there, but they just don't have the quality to really trouble Manchester City. And so it became this game of glorified possession, and eventually we're going to do something that is just enough to score a second goal, and then the game is over because they know they have no chance, and we know they have no chance, and it was boring. So Pep is correct in his assessment.
And we shouldn't underestimate the fact that Pep at half-time would be saying that to his players. Look, this is our third game in 7 days, whatever it is, we're ahead. Just make sure we keep the ball. Keep them running around. Take the sting out of their legs. You know, we'll play our football, we'll get another goal, and we'll be okay. So he's pushing it to the players already that just calm down, keep the ball. You know, we don't need any antics or anything. So no wonder we look at a game that was void of real desire from either side.
Yeah, boring. Hope for more excitement in what remains in the FA Cup. We've got plenty of it for you. I'll tell you what is not boring, getting up at whatever time we need to get up at for Birmingham against Leeds tomorrow. That's myself, Stevie, and Kieran Gibbs.
All right. Yep. Good luck, guys.
Tune in bright and early to see how we manage. 6:30 a.m. Eastern.
Is there anybody on standby?
There is not. Arsenal against Wigan also later in the day, and Monday the Giant Killers of Macclesfield are up against Premier League opposition once again. This time it's Brentford.